is De Cesaris on the grass. He's going over. Oh, De Cesaris, a major accident.
But down into the inside of the Lowe's hairpin, and the two come together. They are absolutely...
Coming inside, he should know he's there. He's leading the race, and look at this idiot.
This is Andrea De Cesaris. He has earned the record for the most crashes in Formula One history. But is his notorious reputation justified? To find that out, let's rewind to the very beginning. De Cesaris was born in Rome on May 31st, 1959. While we don't know much about his early life, we did know one thing: he had a passion for racing. At a very young age, he achieved multiple karting championships, later advancing to the British Formula 3 series, achieving second overall in his first year. Before he knew it, he was a Formula 1 racer. In his first year, Alfa Romeo signed him for the last races of the 1980 season. In his initial race in Canada, he had to retire after just 8 laps due to an engine issue. The next race, though, would be the start of his very infamous reputation. After having qualified 10th, he was looking to secure some points. Unfortunately for him, on lap 2, he had a collision with Derek Daly, resulting in a crash into the catch fence after completing only 2 laps, ending the season on a low note. That wasn't to worry though, because due to his Marlboro sponsorship, he secured a position at McLaren the next year. Throughout the season, De Cesaris displayed occasional speed, especially on fast tracks, but he experienced an insane total of 19 crashes that season, either during practice sessions or races, mostly due to his own mistakes. The team was so concerned about his crash-prone nature that, I'm not kidding, they didn't allow him to compete in a race because they were so scared he would crash again. What's also crazy is that out of the 14 races he started that year, the Italian only managed to complete 6 due to his frequent shunts. His reputation for crashing earned him the nickname Andrea De Crasheris, and Ron Dennis, the team principal, was so frustrated with the accidents that not only did he not choose to renew his contract, but he also never again hired another Italian driver for McLaren afterwards. But maybe it's not as bad as it seems. On the surface, he performed poorly. However, the wider picture says there is more that maybe isn't being told. One point that is worth noting is that McLaren's team boss, Ron Dennis, was known for being extremely harsh. So much so that De Cesaris claims he was treated unfairly, as he was given an older car with only 20 laps of testing before his first race with them. Since the majority of their efforts were directed towards the new car, it hindered his performance and made scoring points difficult. Anyways, since he was fired at McLaren, he had no choice but to return to Alfa Romeo the next year, where De Cesaris found a supportive atmosphere. This was the type of team that perfectly suited his needs. During his term spanning 2 years at Alfa Romeo, he experienced his best period, with only mechanical reliability preventing him from reaching the top spot of the podium. In 1982, the race in Long Beach saw him secure pole position, and at Monaco, he seemed destined for victory until he unexpectedly ran out of fuel, losing the race. He still wouldn't be immune from his crashing tendencies though, as a moment of disappointment arose in Austria when he collided with his teammate. However, a promising development was on the horizon in the form of a new turbocharged engine. Once it proved to be reliable, he garnered a series of impressive point finishes in the 1983 season. Nevertheless, he still crashed an insane 10 times that season. With his reputation among teams decreasing, it was obvious that the only thing keeping him afloat was his Marlboro sponsorship. In 1984, De Cesaris joined Ligier. Despite the team's promising turbo engine, he only managed to earn 3 points throughout the season, with a lot of crashes hindering his performance. A year later, in 1985, he had several strong performances, including a 4th place finish in Monaco. However, his season took a downturn after the Austrian Grand Prix that year, where all of his crashes finally paid their price. During the 13th lap of that race, De Cesaris would experience one of Formula One's most remarkable crashes. While navigating one of the track's curves, his Ligier veered off the racing line, skidding onto the wet grassy embankment. The damp surface caused the car to slide sideways before its right rear hit a slight incline, leading to a dramatic sequence of 4 consecutive mid-air rolls and flips. Despite the violent ordeal, the Checerus miraculously emerged with just a mud-covered helmet and racing suit, having unfastened his seatbelt as the car came to a stop. When he returned to the pits, he knew his team boss would be furious, so the Checerus told him that the car stalled on the track. Unfortunately, this crash marked the end of the Checerus' time at Ligier, as after the team owner saw a replay of the crash, he decided to sack the Italian driver due to the substantial repair costs resulting from his numerous crashes since joining the team. The Checerus was let go from Ligier after competing in the Dutch Grand Prix 1 week later, although in his account, he dismisses the myth that the team boss was the cause of his departure. He shares the true story involving the Brabham team boss initially signing him early, but instead signing another driver, so when the Checerus left Ligier for Brabham, he had nowhere to go. Either way, you would think that he would be more careful now that he suffered such a serious accident. However, it would be an even more common occurrence from now on. With no options available, he had to join Minardi. He struggled to keep up with his teammate's pace, who ironically was a rookie. Throughout the season, he failed to score any points and retired from all races except 2. But most importantly, this year would result in his outstanding record of not finishing a total of 18 races in a row, a crazy record that basically proved everyone right when it came to his crash-prone nature. In 1987, the Checerus moved to the Brabham team and showed improved performance compared to before. However, he struggled to keep up with his teammate and had 14 non-finishes out of the 16 races, mostly due to his nature of crashes. 1988 wouldn't be much better either, and in 1989, the Checerus joined Scuderia Italia, initially showing promise but experiencing setbacks, including more crashes and collisions, with Nelson Piquet and teammate Alex Caffey falling victim. He then managed a 3rd place finish in Canada, marking his final podium appearance in Formula 1. One thing to know though is that the Checerus also had a huge problem. He barely knew English. This made his communication with other team members very difficult, and therefore he couldn't explain his issues properly. He claims that he would have wished to have hired an English manager since it would have been more suitable for him. Nevertheless, he was still in Formula 1 and he had to perform. By the 1990 season, the middle of the pack had become more fiercely contested, and throughout the season, the Checerus was engaged in several incidents, such as crashing at the beginning of the races in Brazil and Imola. At the San Marino Grand Prix, an iconic moment would occur when he came close to colliding with Nigel Mansell's Ferrari while being lapped, leading world champion and commentator James Hunt to say some pretty harsh things.
Prost is going to have in the race with his passing the Williams. Whoops! And Mansell just managed to hold it with the Dallara in front of him, and really that was the Checerus doing his usual performance, taking no notice of the leaders lapping him, and really and now we see it again, and you'll see that Mansell is coming inside. He should know he's there, he's leading the race, and look at this idiot. And it really is a disgrace that he's allowed to continue to interfere with Grand Prix racing, and apart from spoiling the race.
That perfectly summed up everyone's feelings at the time. Just like how we left the Hey Latifi or Mazepin in recent times, the Checerus was the laughingstock back in his age. There's no doubt that he was under a lot of pressure. But after your 10th year in Formula 1, I mean, you shouldn't be crashing as excessively. But that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think. Returning back to his career after being replaced the subsequent season, the Checerus joined the Jordan team. He faced initial setbacks but improved later on, achieving 4th and 5th places in Canada and Mexico. He struggled at times but secured a 2nd place position at the Belgian Grand Prix before retiring due to an oil tank issue. Despite challenges, the Checerus finished the season in 9th place, definitely better than his previous years. Jordan couldn't retain the Checerus for 1992 due to financial conflicts with sponsorship, therefore Tyrrell hired him. Apart from a couple of crashes, the Checerus achieved a 5th place in Mexico and scored points 3 more times that season, including a 4th place in the Japanese Grand Prix. In 1993, despite a new engine and car, he failed to score points in a season for the 3rd time in his career and left Tyrrell at the end of the season. And finally, in 1994, The Chasseress initially didn't have a drive but returned to Jordan after Eddie Irvine's ban. He struggled with crashes and fitness issues but managed a 4th place finish in Monaco. Sauber noticed his form and signed him to replace an injured driver. After a couple of races, he retired from his last race due to throttle problems, putting an end to his very long and controversial Formula One career. In total, he achieved a lot of records, not that they are very good. For example, he holds the record for the most Grand Prix starts without a win, and he also holds the record for the highest number of consecutive crashes and successive crashes in a single season. He also has the most non-finishes in a 16-race season, with 14. After retiring from motor racing, the Chasseress became a successful currency broker in Monte Carlo and enjoyed windsurfing around the world. He also made a substantial donation to a sail manufacturer affected by the 2004 tsunami. Despite being away from Formula One, he reappeared at the 2005 Monaco Grand Prix and later joined the Grand Prix Masters Series, achieving a strong 4th place finish in the first race. Sadly, this story would not have a happy ending. On October 5th, 2014, the Chasseress tragically passed away in a road accident at the age of 55 years old while riding his motorcycle. Reports from the Italian press indicated that he collided with a guardrail on the outer lane of the freeway, near a turnoff, resulting in his immediate death. This comment perfectly sums it all up. He had so many crashes in F1, and survived all of them. Then he died driving a motorbike on a regular road. What an ironic story. Rest in peace,